In August of 2018, I purchased this Tesla Model 3 that you see in front of you. 110,000 road trip miles later, I'm still the proud owner of this car. Yes, it's got a few nicks and dings and scratches on it, but it's still in pretty good shape if you ask me. Now, thanks to this channel, Frugal Tesla Guy, I've had the opportunity to review dozens of aftermarket products. Now, some of those products are still on my car. Others are on a shelf somewhere collecting dust. But one thing I want to do with this video is to share with you my top 5 favorite accessories that I've put on this car. Now, I want also to make it clear that I've always been 100% honest with both you and the manufacturer of these products, that I am 100% honest when it comes to review, good or bad. So you can rest assured that the products I'm about to present to you today are products that I would spend my hard-earned money on. So let's get right to it and get to my top 5 not so frugal accessories. When I purchased this car, there were 2 options for the wheels, the 18-inch Aeros and the 19-inch Sport wheels. Sure, the 18-inch Aeros are more efficient and you get more miles per charge. However, I really liked the look of the Sport wheels, so I decided to go with the upgrade. However, fast forward 6 years later, and in that time, road rash happens. It's pretty much inevitable. That's where the EV base wheel covers come into play. They not only covered up the road rash, but in my opinion, give the car a great new look. But it begs the question, what happens when you get road rash on these new wheel covers? Well, it's as simple as replacing it with a new one, but at over $200 for a set of 4, you're still going to need to be careful parallel parking and taking those tight turns around curbs. When the Tesla Model S was first released, one of the cool things and one of the cool features that stood out was the self-presenting door handles. They sat flush with the car, or sit flush with the car, and then self-present upon walking up to the car or just unlocking the car in general. Now, the Tesla Model 3 and Y also have that flush design, but the handles don't self-present themselves. So it's a 2-step process in order to open the door. You've got to first push it open and then pull to open the door. Really not a big deal once you get used to it, but then EV Mod came out with these self-presenting door handles, first for the Tesla Model 3, then eventually the Model Y. And I just had to give it a try. So my buddy from EV Mod installed the handles for me. I absolutely love them. On top of that, they have lights, making it easier for you to see them at night. Now, the newer handles now allow you to switch between different colors. Now, the price is actually reasonable, if you ask me, coming in at $400 for a set of 4. However, on top of the $400 price tag for the hardware, you'll most likely need to have them installed by a professional. And depending on who you use, it'll cost you anywhere between $500 and $700 to have them installed. With that said, it is a pricey option, but this is something that I absolutely love and would highly recommend. I think anyone who owns a Tesla Model 3 or a Y or just a Tesla in general will agree that the front end of the car is a bug and debris magnet. Any extensive period on the highway and you have got a front bumper and a front end of your car that is just covered in dead bugs and debris. On top of that, you can get rock chips that can permanently damage the paint job on your car. Now, the best way to prevent any of that from happening and to protect the front end of your car is to add PPF. But if you've done any research to have it professionally installed, it can quickly drain your bank account. But the great thing is, Test Bros has come out with a DIY kit for less than $1,000. And if you can find the right sale, it can cost you as little as $725 for the front of the car. But one thing you have to keep in mind is you have to install it yourself. Is this a project for everyone? I'd say no. However, if you're up to the task, I highly recommend it. Test Bros has come out with a series of videos to give you step-by-step instructions on how to install one of these kits. It's like having them right there with you. I've had the opportunity to install one myself on my Model 3, and I also installed one with my friend on his Tesla Model S Plaid. And honestly, it really wasn't that difficult. It took some time, but as long as you have the time and you have the patience, this is something I think anyone can do. Both my friend and myself couldn't be happier with the results. And on top of that, it's a lot easier to wash off the bugs and the bug guts with the PPF kit installed. So yes, not an inexpensive option, but if you want to protect your paint job, especially the front of your car, this is the best way to go. It wasn't until the release of the Tesla Cybertruck that we saw the first automatic opening and closing frunk from Tesla. And for some reason, all of the other cars, you have to manually open and close a frunk. But you see, much like that of the automatic opening and closing trunk, which was eventually offered for the Tesla Model 3, it only makes sense that the frunk do the same thing. But eventually, a couple of aftermarket companies took matters into their own hands, and they offered the first automatic opening, and yes, even the first closing frunk automatically. Now, many people have argued that before they installed this, they rarely, if ever, used the frunk. However, once they installed the automatic opening and closing frunk, they use it a lot more. It was just a lot more convenient. Now, it will cost you about $400 for the hardware itself, and quite honestly, if you are handy, it's actually not that difficult to install. However, if you're not up to the task, it will cost you an extra $300 most likely to have it installed. Upon getting into any Tesla for the first time, one of the first things that grabs your attention immediately is the gigantic screen on the dash. The 3 and Y in particular have the screen mounted several inches from the dash, and your natural instinct is to grab the screen and tilt it. Unfortunately, Tesla designed the mount to be in one fixed position. Now, Matt from Tech Forum took matters into his own hands, and he took that natural instinct to grab the screen and tilt it left and right, and he designed a mount that, based on his latest version, it allows you to tilt it left and right, and also up and down. Now, this is by far one of my favorite upgrades to the car. In fact, I was in a Tesla Model 3 driving one a while back that had the original OEM mount, and it must have been psychological, but it looked like the screen was actually tilted more in favor for the passenger. Now, I highly doubt that that's the case, but it just felt that way because I'm able to take this and tilt it more in my direction, and it really does make the driving experience that much better. Now, I need to go on record by saying that there are several Chinese knockoffs of this original design. And before you go that cheaper route, and I know many of you will, and there's nothing I can really do about that, but before you go that route, I would like for you to watch my comparison video between the two. And I think you'll notice that there is just a big difference in the design and engineering of the product itself. So again, this is one of my favorites, and I highly recommend that you spend the extra money if you have it on this tilting mount by Matt from Tech Forum. Now, I know what many of you might be thinking. These are some pretty expensive accessories. Not so frugal, right? However, I've always argued that frugal doesn't necessarily mean cheap. Your frugality allows you to splurge every once in a while, like buying a Tesla Model 3 or buying an expensive accessory for your Tesla Model 3. And if it won't break the bank and you've got the extra cash, I think you'll be extremely happy with any one of these products that I've presented to you today. Well, tell me what you think. Do you have any one of these products? How do you like it? And have I piqued your interest in any of them? Let me know in the description below. And in the meantime, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and stay positively charged.